Normal Heart was shot in New York City, and Ryan was directing it, and then he was part of writing it as well. I'm pretty sure that he adapted the screenplay from the book and the play and everything. So from Larry, and so we knew going into it that we wanted this like very celebratory look to it with Fire Island and how exciting it was at that time for a lot of gay men and there was like the disco era and everything. Things were really becoming very exciting and people were being able to be out more, and then this horrible epidemic started very small and built to millions of people passing away from it, and the horrible aspects of politicians and the way people were treated, and it's just so devastating, and it was such a hard research for me to do. I watched every documentary about it. So a lot of my prep was like sitting and crying and like watching these documentaries that were so moving of people taking care of AIDS patients and how they just withered away into nothing. And a lot of people passed away very quickly from it. Like there was no way to know how a person was going to react to it. So I wanted it to be, when we do realism, you want to be as respectful as possible to the victims and to people that have gone through hardships. So I really, I worked with the doctor that wrote the first book about who realized that Sarkozy's syndrome, the lesions were. It wasn't cancer, that it was a result of the immune system. And he was the one that was just starting to come up with all of that. And he had written a book, and there was incredible detailed pictures in that. So I used that book as part of my research. And I met with him, and he was very happy with the work that I was doing. And it just kind of developed into, starting with this, of people having... of gay people having relationships, of being couples and being able to be free and be out, and then all this horrible disease that happened, which put a complete shutdown on the whole scene, the whole gay scene in New York, and then it started spreading other places. And that being said, it was one of the saddest projects I've worked on with the most fun cast, who maybe sometimes projects that I work on that are really hard like that are hard emotionally to be part of and to research and everything, have the most fun cast where they're being silly a lot of the times. And maybe that's it's a relief to be silly with all of their castmates. So we had so much fun with all of them. They were just a delight. And of course, I've worked with Matt Bomer several times and designed makeups for him on other projects. And he ultimately ended up, losing a ton of weight for that at the end, his end look, which we went back and shot during the winter for a few weeks in New York. And because of Matt losing so much weight, I had initially thought I would use transfers of, they actually were transfers from Asylum that I had left over that Christian Tinsley had made for me for our Rasper characters. So I was like, well, I'll just cut out little bits of that and kind of paint those on, because I wasn't quite sure exactly how much we were going to use those. And unfortunately, I couldn't use any of those transfers and a lot of the makeup because of Matt losing so much weight. I couldn't get them off of him because his skin was so dry, and it was almost painful to try and get them off him. Because so the way that we ended up would get them off of him was he would go take a hot bath and like soak them off. So I just started painting them on, hand painting them, because I could get the alcohol paint off of him fairly easily. But he was so dry and so emaciated, and he had no fat in his body at all. So there was nothing that I couldn't it was fragile. His skin was incredibly fragile. It took a long time for him to come back from that, to like recuperate and gain his weight back. And it made my job obviously much easier to be able to create highlights and shadows of him being like sick, but then becoming deathly ill. So I was doing a highlight and shadow makeup at the beginning, making it more him look like a fuller face, and then decreasing that. He had 2 different set of contacts that he wore. He had, I think he had some teeth that he may have worn, I think. And I mean, it was all just, it was all painted. The work was all painted. So, we ended up getting a lot of really good reviews. We got a lot of good acting accommodations, and awards. We ended up getting nominated. My team got nominated for an Emmy for that, and I'd had a lot of nominations before that. I think at that point I'd had like 28 nominations or something, and I had never won, but I had been so thrilled that I'd gotten invited to the party every year. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And that year, shockingly, my team and I won for the Emmy for the Normal Heart. It still is really surprising to me. I'm just always still so surprised, and we were just absolutely thrilled. It was not in the prosthetic category. It was for period or something like that. I can't remember. I have to go look. It was like 9 years ago or so now. But I was so thrilled that we had this period look with all of these very heartfelt, realistic makeups, and that we were given the award for that. I was just beyond couldn't believe that we had won. Just really was taken with it. So it was especially for it's always kind of mixed to win an award for something that is so many people have passed away, because of your research, and after researching everything, and it's kind of bittersweet almost, because it's like exciting to win something, but also it's just that the subject matter is so moving and horrible. So, but I was very proud of my team. Everyone did such a good job.